Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby grew up in a strict Catholic family and attended Gonzaga University, a Catholic school in Spokane, Washington. During his time at Gonzaga, Bing considered becoming a priest, but ultimately chose a career in entertainment. His Catholic faith remained a central part of his life, and he attended Mass regularly. Bing often sang in church choirs and supported Catholic charities throughout his career. One notable example of his religious devotion was when he funded the construction of a Catholic church in Nevada. Bing made his Hollywood debut in the 1930s with musical films like The Big Broadcast in 1932. He became one of the most famous singers and actors of his time, known for his smooth voice and charming personality. Bing won an Academy Award for Best Actor for his role as Father Chuck O'Malley in Going My Way in 1944, a film about a Catholic priest. He also starred in White Christmas, one of the most beloved holiday films of all time. Bing's last movie was That's Entertainment. In 1974, a documentary celebrating the history of musical films. He passed away on October 14, 1977, but his legacy as a Catholic entertainer and philanthropist lives on. Grace Kelly. Grace Kelly was a lifelong Catholic who grew up in a deeply religious family. She attended Catholic schools as a child, where she learned the values and teachings of the Catholic Church. Her faith was an important part of her life, and she practiced it quietly but sincerely. Even after becoming a Hollywood star and later a princess, Kelly made sure to attend Mass regularly and raised her children as Catholics. One of the most significant moments showing her religious devotion was her wedding to Prince Rainier III of Monaco in 1956. The ceremony was held in a grand Catholic church, and it was attended by many famous personalities, making it one of the most celebrated Catholic weddings of the time. Grace Kelly began her Hollywood career in the early 1950s and quickly became one of the most admired actresses of her era. She won an Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in The Country Girl in 1954 and starred in several iconic films, including Rear Window in 1954 and High Society in 1956. Her elegance and talent made her a favorite among audiences and critics alike. After marrying Prince Rainier, she left Hollywood to focus on her duties as Princess of Monaco, but she remained a symbol of grace and beauty. Her last movie was High Society in 1956, a musical comedy where she starred alongside Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby. Tragically, Grace Kelly's life was cut short when she died in a car accident on September 14, 1982. She was buried in the Cathedral of Monaco, a Catholic church where she had often prayed. Gary Cooper. Gary Cooper was a practicing Catholic who grew up in a religious household. He attended a Catholic school in Montana, where he learned the teachings of the Catholic Church. Cooper's faith played a significant role in his life, and he often attended Mass, even during his busy Hollywood career. He was known to support Catholic charities and spoke openly about how his faith helped him make important decisions. One incident that highlighted his religious affection was when he refused to act in roles that conflicted with his Catholic values, showing his commitment to his beliefs. Cooper began his Hollywood career in 1925 and became one of the most famous actors of the Golden Age. He was known for his roles in classic films like Sergeant York in 1941 and High Noon in 1952, for which he won 2 Academy Awards for Best Actor. His strong, quiet presence on screen made him a favorite among audiences, and he often played characters who stood up for what was right, reflecting his own moral values. His last movie was The Naked Edge in 1961, a thriller where he played a man suspected of murder. Sadly, Gary Cooper passed away on May 13, 1961, after battling cancer. He was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in California. Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner was raised in a Catholic family in North Carolina and attended Catholic schools during her childhood. Although she did not always publicly discuss her faith, she maintained a connection to her Catholic roots throughout her life. Gardner practiced her faith privately and often turned to prayer during difficult times. One notable incident showing her religious affection was her request for a Catholic funeral, and she was eventually buried in a Catholic cemetery in England, reflecting her lifelong ties to the church. Gardner began her Hollywood career in 1941 after being discovered by MGM. She quickly became one of the most glamorous and talented actresses of her time, starring in iconic films like The Killers in 1946, Mogambo in 1953, and The Night of the Iguana in 1964. Her beauty and acting skills earned her critical acclaim and a loyal fan base. Despite her fame, Gardner remained grounded and often credited her humble upbringing and faith for keeping her balanced. Her last film was The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean in 1972, where she played a memorable supporting role. After retiring from acting, Gardner lived a quiet life in London. She passed away on January 25, 1990, due to pneumonia. John Wayne. John Wayne was raised Catholic and attended Glendale High School in California, where he was exposed to Catholic teachings. Although he was not always vocal about his faith, he practiced it privately and often attended Mass. Later in life, Wayne's faith became more important to him, and he converted to Catholicism officially shortly before his death. This decision was influenced by his close friendship with a Catholic priest, Father William Cleary, who guided him through the process. Wayne's conversion showed his deep respect for the Catholic faith and its values. Wayne began his Hollywood career in 1926 and became one of the most iconic actors in American cinema. Known as the Duke, he starred in countless westerns and war films, including Stagecoach in 1939, The Searchers in 1956, and True Grit in 1969, for which he won an Academy Award for Best Actor. His strong, rugged persona made him a symbol of American strength and determination, and his films remain beloved by audiences worldwide. His last movie was The Shootist in 1976, where he played an aging gunslinger facing his own mortality. Sadly, John Wayne passed away on June 11, 1979, after battling stomach cancer. He was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in California. Loretta Young. Loretta Young was a devout Catholic who grew up in a deeply religious family. She attended Catholic schools where she learned the teachings of the Church, and her faith remained a central part of her life. Young was known for her strong religious routine, which included attending Mass daily and praying the Rosary. She often spoke about how her faith guided her decisions, both personally and professionally. One of the most significant examples of her religious affection was her founding of the Christophers, a Catholic organization that promotes Christian values through media and encourages people to make a positive difference in the world. Young began her Hollywood career in 1917 as a child actress and quickly rose to fame as one of the most elegant and talented stars of the Golden Age. She won an Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in The Farmer's Daughter in 1947 and became a household name with her television show, The Loretta Young Show, which ran from 1953 to 1961. Her grace, beauty, and strong moral values made her a role model for many. Her last film was Christmas Eve in 1986, a TV movie where she played a wealthy woman trying to reunite her family. Loretta Young passed away on August 12, 2000, after a battle with ovarian cancer. She was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in California. Patricia Neal. Patricia Neal was raised in a Catholic family in Kentucky and attended Catholic schools during her childhood. Her faith was an important part of her life, and she often turned to it during difficult times. Neal practiced her faith quietly but sincerely, finding comfort in prayer and the teachings of the Catholic Church. One of the most significant moments showing her religious affection was her recovery from a series of strokes in the 1960s. Neal credited her faith and the support of her Catholic community for helping her regain her strength and return to acting. Neal began her Hollywood career in 1949 and quickly became known for her powerful performances. She won an Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in HUD in 1963 and starred in other notable films like The Day the Earth Stood Still in 1951 and Breakfast at Tiffany's in 1961. Her talent and determination made her one of the most respected actresses of her time, and she continued to work in film, television, and theater throughout her life. Her last film was Flying By in 2009, a romantic drama where she played a grandmother. Patricia Neal passed away on August 8, 2010, due to lung cancer. She was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in Massachusetts. Mickey Rooney. He was raised in a Catholic family and attended Catholic schools during his childhood. His faith was an important part of his upbringing, and he practiced it intermittently throughout his life. Rooney often spoke about how his Catholic background helped shape his values and work ethic. Although he was not always vocal about his religious routine, he respected the teachings of the Church and turned to prayer during challenging times. One incident that highlighted his connection to his faith was his decision to have a Catholic funeral, showing his lifelong ties to the Church. Rooney began his Hollywood career in 1927 as a child actor and became one of the most famous stars of the Golden Age. He was known for his roles in the Andy Hardy series and for his performances in films like Boys Town in 1938 and National Velvet in 1944. Rooney's energy, talent, and versatility made him a beloved figure in Hollywood, and he continued to act in films, television, and theater for over 9 decades. He received an honorary Academy Award in 1983 for his contributions to the film industry. His last film was The Muppets in 2014, where he made a cameo appearance. Mickey Rooney passed away on April 6, 2014, at the age of 93. He was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in California. Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth was raised in a Catholic family and attended Catholic schools during her childhood. Her faith was an important part of her early life, and she carried its teachings with her throughout her career. Although Hayworth did not always publicly discuss her religious practices, she maintained a connection to her Catholic roots. One notable example of her religious affection was her marriage to Prince Ali Khan in 1949, which included a Catholic ceremony. This showed her respect for the traditions of the church, even as her life took her in different directions. Hayworth began her Hollywood career in 1935 and quickly became one of the most glamorous and iconic actresses of her time. She was known as the Love Goddess and starred in classic films like Gilda in 1946, The Lady from Shanghai in 1947, and CoverGirl in 1944. Her beauty, talent, and charisma made her a global star, and she became a symbol of Hollywood's golden age. Despite her fame, Hayworth struggled with personal challenges, but she always remained graceful and professional. Her last film was The Wrath of God in 1972, where she played a supporting role. Sadly, Rita Hayworth's later years were marked by health issues, including Alzheimer's disease. She passed away on May 14, 1987, and was given a Catholic funeral. She was buried in a Catholic cemetery in New York. Spencer Tracy. Spencer Tracy was raised in a Catholic family and attended Jesuit-run Marquette University, where he received a strong religious education. His Catholic faith was an important part of his life, though he often struggled to reconcile it with his personal challenges. Tracy practiced his faith privately and was known to attend Mass regularly. Despite his struggles, he respected the teachings of the church and often turned to prayer during difficult times. One incident that highlighted his connection to his faith was his decision to have a Catholic funeral, showing his lifelong ties to the church. Tracy began his Hollywood career in 1930 and became one of the most respected actors of his time. He was known for his powerful performances in films like Captains Courageous in 1937 and Boys Town in 1938, for which he won 2 consecutive Academy Awards for Best Actor. His ability to portray complex characters with depth and sincerity made him a favorite among audiences and critics alike. Tracy's partnership with Katharine Hepburn in films like Adam's Rib in 1949 and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner in 1967 is still celebrated as one of the greatest in Hollywood history. His last film was Guess Who's Coming to Dinner in 1967, which was released shortly after his death. Spencer Tracy passed away on June 10, 1967, due to a heart attack. He was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in California. Maureen O'Hara. Maureen O'Hara was a devout Catholic who grew up in Ireland and attended Catholic schools, where she learned the teachings of the Church. Her faith was a central part of her life, and she practiced it openly and proudly. O'Hara attended Mass regularly and often spoke about how her Catholic beliefs guided her decisions and actions. She was known for her strong moral values and her commitment to living a life that reflected her faith. One notable example of her religious affection was her dedication to raising her daughter as a Catholic and ensuring that her family upheld the values she cherished. O'Hara began her Hollywood career in 1939 and quickly became one of the most beloved actresses of the Golden Age. She was known for her fiery red hair, strong screen presence, and roles in classic films like The Quiet Man in 1952, Miracle on 34th Street in 1947, and How Green Was My Valley in 1941. Her performances often showcased her strength and independence, making her a role model for many. O'Hara's partnership with John Wayne in several films, especially The Quiet Man, remains iconic. Her last film was The Last Dance in 2000, a TV movie where she played a retired actress. Maureen O'Hara passed away on October 24, 2015, at the age of 95. She was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in Ireland. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was raised in a Catholic family in Australia and attended Catholic schools during his childhood. Although he was not always vocal about his faith, he maintained a connection to his Catholic roots throughout his life. Flynn's religious practices were more private, and he did not often discuss them publicly. However, he respected the teachings of the Church and was buried in a Catholic cemetery, reflecting his lifelong ties to the faith. One incident that highlighted his connection to Catholicism was his decision to have a Catholic funeral, showing his respect for the traditions of the Church. Flynn began his Hollywood career in 1933 and quickly became one of the most famous and charismatic actors of his time. He was known for his swashbuckling roles in films like The Adventures of Robin Hood in 1938, Captain Blood in 1935, and The Seahawk in 1940. His charm, athleticism, and good looks made him a favorite among audiences, and he became a symbol of adventure and romance on the big screen. Despite his off-screen controversies, Flynn's talent and screen presence remain unforgettable. His last film was Cuban Rebel Girls in 1959, a low-budget movie where he played a journalist. Sadly, Errol Flynn's later years were marked by health issues and personal struggles. He passed away on October 14, 1959, at the age of 50, due to a heart attack. He was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in California. Susan Hayward. Susan Hayward was raised in a Catholic family and attended Catholic schools during her childhood. Her faith was an important part of her upbringing, and she carried its teachings with her throughout her life. Although Hayward did not often speak publicly about her religious practices, she maintained a connection to her Catholic roots. One notable example of her religious affection was her request for a Catholic funeral, showing her respect for the traditions of the Church. She was buried in a Catholic cemetery, reflecting her lifelong ties to the faith. Hayward began her Hollywood career in 1937 and quickly rose to fame as one of the most talented and versatile actresses of her time. She was known for her powerful performances in films like I Want to Live, in 1958, for which she won an Academy Award for Best Actress, and With a Song in My Heart in 1952. Her ability to portray strong, complex characters made her a favorite among audiences and critics alike. Hayward's dedication to her craft and her striking beauty made her a true Hollywood icon. Her last film was The Revengers in 1972, a Western where she played a supporting role. Sadly, Susan Hayward's later years were marked by health issues, including brain cancer. She passed away on March 14, 1975, at the age of 57. She was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in Georgia. Rosalind Russell. Rosalind Russell was raised in a Catholic family and attended Catholic schools, where she learned the teachings of the Church. Her faith was a central part of her life, and she practiced it openly and sincerely. Russell attended Mass regularly and often spoke about how her Catholic beliefs guided her decisions and actions. She was known for her strong moral values and her commitment to living a life that reflected her faith. One notable example of her religious affection was her support for Catholic charities and her dedication to helping others, which she saw as a way to live out her faith. Russell began her Hollywood career in 1934 and quickly became one of the most respected and versatile actresses of her time. She was known for her sharp wit and strong screen presence in films like His Girl Friday in 1940, Auntie Mame in 1958, and Gypsy in 1962. Her performances earned her 4 Academy Award nominations, and she became a beloved figure in Hollywood. Russell's ability to balance comedy and drama made her a true icon of the Golden Age. Her last film was The Crooked Hearts in 1972, a TV movie where she played a grandmother. Rosalind Russell passed away on November 28, 1976, after a long battle with rheumatoid arthritis. She was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in California. Gene Kelly. He was raised in a Catholic family and attended Catholic schools during his childhood. His faith was an important part of his upbringing, and he carried its teachings with him throughout his life. Although Kelly did not often speak publicly about his religious practices, he maintained a connection to his Catholic roots. One notable example of his religious affection was his decision to have a Catholic funeral, showing his respect for the traditions of the Church. He was buried in a Catholic cemetery, reflecting his lifelong ties to the faith. Kelly began his Hollywood career in 1942 and quickly became one of the most iconic actors, dancers, and choreographers of his time. He was known for his innovative dance routines and charismatic performances in films like Singin' in the Rain in 1952, An American in Paris in 1951, and On the Town in 1949. His talent and creativity revolutionized the musical genre, and he became a symbol of joy and energy on the big screen. Kelly's work earned him an honorary Academy Award in 1952 for his contributions to film. His last film was Xanadu in 1980, a musical fantasy where he played a supporting role. Gene Kelly passed away on February 2, 1996 at the age of 83, after suffering a series of strokes. He was given a Catholic funeral and was buried in a Catholic cemetery in California. Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra was born and raised in a devout Italian Catholic family in Hoboken, New Jersey. Even as he skyrocketed to fame with his smooth voice and magnetic stage presence, he stayed connected to his roots, frequently attending Mass and embracing the values of his upbringing. Alongside his legendary singing career, Sinatra made his mark on the big screen, even earning an Academy Award for his role in From Here to Eternity. His life was a blend of showbiz glamour and heartfelt faith, and when he passed away on May 14, 1998, his funeral reflected the deep Catholic traditions that had always been part of his life. Today, his legacy lives on through timeless music and the enduring spirit of his early teachings. Dean Martin. Dean Martin grew up immersed in the warmth and traditions of an Italian Catholic household, where the values of community and kindness were instilled from a young age. His effortless charm and relaxed style helped him become a beloved singer, actor, and television personality, starring in classic comedies and westerns that still captivate audiences. Throughout his illustrious career, Martin never lost touch with the Catholic principles of his childhood, which often shone through in his generosity and down-to-earth demeanor. Passing away on December 25, 1995, he was remembered with a respectful Catholic service, a fitting tribute to the faith that had helped shape his life both on and off the screen. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson, one of Hollywood's most beloved leading men, was raised in a deeply Catholic environment and attended Catholic schools during his early years. His faith was a quiet but steady companion through the ups and downs of stardom, lending him a sense of dignity and humility, even as he graced the silver screen in films like Giant and Pillow Talk. Hudson's Catholic upbringing was a cornerstone of his personal life, guiding him with a gentle moral compass throughout his career. After a long battle with AIDS, he passed away on October 2, 1985, and his funeral was conducted with full Catholic rites, underscoring the lifelong influence of his spiritual background. Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone, best known for his iconic roles in the Rocky and Rambo franchises, was raised in a Catholic family where the early lessons of discipline, resilience, and morality were key parts of his upbringing. While Hollywood often celebrates the action hero on screen, behind the scenes, Stallone has always acknowledged that his Catholic background played a crucial role in keeping him grounded during the unpredictable journey of show business. Though he may not frequently discuss his faith in public forums, those close to him know that the values learned in his youth have helped him overcome obstacles and achieve success. Today, Stallone's ongoing career continues to reflect that blend of tough determination and an enduring, if quietly expressed, spiritual foundation. James Cagney. James Cagney, celebrated for his rapid-fire dialogue and memorable tough guy roles, was shaped early on by a Catholic upbringing in New York City. His Catholic education instilled in him a strong work ethic, discipline, and a deep respect for others, traits that were evident in his dynamic performances in films such as Yankee Doodle Dandy and White Heat. Even as Cagney became an icon of American cinema, his private life was guided by the humble, steadfast principles of his faith. When he passed away on March 30, 1986, his legacy was not only defined by his energetic on-screen presence, but also by the lasting impact of the Catholic values that had molded his character from the start.